Hello and welcome to the user interface walkthrough of the Cloud Transformation Cockpit of Txture. Let's dive right in. You can access the Cloud Transformation Cockpit via the Transformation Cockpit button on the top navigation bar. The goal of the Cloud Transformation Cockpit is to guide you along the entire journey to cloud, from the initial definition of the cloud strategy to the discovery of your application and infrastructure landscape, to cloud readiness assessment, and also to managing your target architectures, recommending your target architectures, and comparing target architectures in terms of technologies and costs between different providers. So the top navigation bar here signifies the transformation process, and on the y-axis down here you can see each application that is currently considered for transformation. And in each of those views, you have an overview like this one here, where you get in the summary view an overview of your current transformation status. So there are 4 applications here that have their migration strategy already decided. And we can also look into the details of each individual application, get the summary for each individual applications. So here we have a summary of, for example, this CRM application. In this demo instance of Txture, this is a medium complexity application, and you can see the data discovery is in a very good situation right here. We have a very high cloud readiness assessment, and we've already decided on a cloud transformation proposal towards the Google Cloud in this case. And we can look at other instances here. This is, for example, a SaaS recommendation, where an Exchange service here is replaced, for example, with G Suite in this case. But let's move on to the cloud strategy here. The cloud strategy defines how the underlying cloud knowledge engine and cloud readiness rule engine interprets the data that is collected in the discovery phase and makes recommendations and cloud readiness assessment. So in this case, we decided here that platform as a service is the overall cloud strategy for my entire application portfolio. But I could also select the cloud strategy for single applications and not only for the entire application portfolio. I also selected here that GCP is my preferred provider in this case. I could also add more providers from a quite extensive list. We can also set the certification requirements for all services that are recommended. In this case, the C5 certification is desired, but there's also a big list of additional certifications that can be set as required. And there are some more settings I can set here. I'm not going into the details of those ones because of the idea to keep this screencast a little bit shorter. Additionally, we can look at the cloud readiness rules here. There's a predefined set of rules, and one can select among different rules here and also deselect some of the rules that might not be relevant in your transformation case. Let's look into the discovery phase as the next step. So in this case, we get an overview of all the technologies that have been collected already. And we can also see that we have 5 applications that have a quite decent medium data completeness, 3 applications that have high data completeness, and 1 application that has a very low data completeness. And we can look at this application with very low data completeness. We can select it, and here we immediately see the data completeness problems. For example, that we have no technical application components defined for this application. And if we scroll down here, we already see what the problem is. Basically, we know nothing about this application. We just know its name and its start date for production, but not much more. So from this point here, we could start, for example, sending out surveys to application owners, or we could also manually edit this application directly from up here. Let's move on to looking at what we can do with this application. So here we could already decide, okay, based on the data that has been collected, to descope the application from the cloud transformation process, or we could select here that the application discovery phase is complete. Of course, this application does not have very high data completeness, so we would not select this here. In the next phase, we can look at the assessment view. And here we can see, again, an overview of what kind of application has what kind of cloud readiness. In this case, there's one application with a very high cloud readiness. We can look at this one in particular. It's a e-learning platform, and we marked it here as very low complexity already. And we can see here it's got a very high cloud readiness score. The migration strategy that is recommended here is to migrate this application in a short term. And down here we can see the different aspects of the cloud readiness: the application complexity, the technical configuration, the business perspective, and the data risk in this example. And we can also see that here we have some exclamation marks that show us where maybe data is missing or where problems in the migration might arise. In this case, it's already been selected that this application should be migrated, so we can move on to the next phase. And here we see those different kinds of recommendations for transforming this application. So in this case, GCP has been ranked the highest for a specific price, and we can look into the details here, how this actual score came to be. For example, with regards to the costs, the ease of migration, the favorite provider, in this case, the deployment location, etc. We can then look at the migration plan, which is a replacement here of different components with, in this case, MySQL databases or infrastructure lift and shift of those virtual machines with Google Compute Engines. We can get a list of all those components and see which component is replaced by which cloud component. And we can also have a look at the according price for this each application, and can then fine-tune that to the, for example, specific runtime of each application. We can then have an overview of all applications in the deployment and cost phase here in the end, and we can see what has been selected here. One application has been already selected to move to AWS, and one has been selected to GCP. And we can also look at all applications based on the recommendations that Txture gives out. In this case, 4 applications would move to GCP in this case. So this was the short overview of the cloud transformation cockpit. Txture can do much more than this. Also helps you with performing road mapping of your cloud transformation. There will be more screencasts regarding all the further use cases of Txture. That's it for the cloud transformation cockpit. If you have any further questions, just get in touch. We are looking forward to hear from you.